apparently another this the thing that
Hey guys, today we're gonna be talking. Just kidding, I'm not gonna do the review like this. Imagine if I did the whole review with a mask and it was all muffled. I would hate myself. I hate wearing the mask. I don't know. I know I have to wear it. I know it's a safe thing to do, but it gets all... I got a beard. I get all sweaty. I drink a lot of coffee. I have to smell my coffee breath all day. Not a fun experience. So we're reaching the pinnacle of zombie movies right now. This is the inception of the zombie movie. Night of the Living Dead, 1968. I find the stories revolving around this movie more interesting than the movie itself. Not downplaying the quality of the movie. It's a really good movie. But it's a real underdog story. This was like a micro-budget film. And it ended up being one of the most profitable movies adjusted for inflation. The movie made 213 times its budget. This movie is responsible for the whole zombie craze because of one tiny mistake. The original title was Night of the Flesh Eaters. One of the producers didn't like that title, said change it to Night of the Living Dead. They changed it on the film, but forgot to put the little C with a circle around it. So it basically fell into public domain, which is a very unfortunate mistake for Romero, who directed this movie. But it ended up being a very good thing for film because this little mistake led to the invention of a whole genre. Because had this not been in the public domain, had this been copyrighted, people wouldn't be able to be doing zombie movies nowadays. I think it would go into public domain in probably 2030-ish. So we would have to wait a long time before getting another Romero-type zombie film. So that means no Walking Dead, no Resident Evil, no nothing. All because they forgot to put a little C in a circle at the beginning of the movie. Unfortunate, but it was a happy accident when you look at it through the lens of film history. That said, this movie had a huge impact on the rules of a zombie movie. All the cliches you see nowadays in zombie movies come from this movie, and that's why I know White Zombie is technically the first zombie movie. To me, Night of the Living Dead is the first zombie movie because of all these cliches, what have become cliches, but it was completely original for this film. So just stuff like the opening where the brother is teasing his sister saying, "What are you scared? What are you scared?" It turns out she was totally right. She had the right to be scared because they ended up getting little Johnny got devoured. This is the first movie where zombies are portrayed as flesh eaters. Before, they were just hypnotized voodoo creatures from Haitian mythology. But now they're flesh eaters. They require a shot to the brain in order to die. They have a thirst for blood. So all these cliches or these rules come from Night of the Living Dead. The zombies, however, in this movie are pretty smart compared to your average zombie movie. In the opening, when Barbara's trying to escape one of the zombies, the zombie actually thinks of picking up a brick and smashing a window. Which is a pretty smart zombie when you compare them to other recent films. And you have to go into this film with the mindset that this is the first film to do all these things. I can see a casual film viewer going to watch this movie and be like, it's just your average zombie movie. What's it to it? It's the first. So it could be seen as a little cliche by today's standards, but the movie was really ahead of its time. There's no doubt about it. George Romero is one of my favorite directors all time. One of my biggest regrets in life was he was at Montreal Comic Con, and I was thinking of going, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to go just for Romero. And he passed away maybe 2 years after that. which was really unfortunate. I missed my chance, but a really great filmmaker, and I'm going to be more than happy to review the rest of his films, the rest of his zombie films during this series. So yeah, really interesting to see this movie. It's really an element of its time. You have the old radio that takes up half the room, and they're like, whoa, we can't stay in the cellar, the radio is upstairs. And then a millennial viewer would be like, why don't you just bring the radio downstairs? It doesn't work like that. Also, there's this hilarious scene that's really outdated. The kid is downstairs and the kid's very ill, and they're in a cellar with no windows. The fucking dad just lights a cigarette.
She feels warm. Maybe it's shock.
Where'd you get the bandage?
Some laundry in a basket. I tore a sheet.
I don't know. I thought that was funny when I saw it. So, overall, yeah, really enjoyable movie. The first time we see a corpse in this movie really caught me off guard the first time I watched this movie. I wasn't expecting, since the movie was made in the 60s, I wasn't expecting this movie to be so gross, but it's really gross, and people get turned off by black and white movies. I feel like the black and white works for this movie. All the scenes where the zombies are eating flesh, it's really gross, and like the sound effects are like a lot of masticating going on. It's a really gross film, even by today's standards. But imagine watching this back in the 60s. Like, I would have been mind blown. I'm like, what the fuck? It's cannibals eating each other. What's going on here? But other than the zombie gore effects that I thought were really good, I really liked the titular character. I think his name was Cooper in the film. I can't remember. But he was really good, really badass. He made smart decisions. He's played by a black man in this movie, and it was really rare at the time to have a black lead in a film. And one of the smart decisions that Romero does is they don't even bring up his race. It's not brought up in the film at all. And I thought that was a really smart decision. Yeah, it made the film look a bit more natural instead of having that. I feel like sometimes movies nowadays have that obligatory scene where the lead who's black has to go through some kind of struggle with his race. Romero knew not to go down that route, and I think it works for the film because it's a zombie apocalypse. Why would issues of race come up? It's all about survival at this point. He handles the situation like a badass, except for one scene he fucking loses his cool. He slaps Barbara in the face. It wasn't even a slap, it was a punch. Like a closed-fisted punch. So, fair warning, Barbara gets her ass whooped at some point in this movie, but I have to give the man credit. He was putting up with that girl for a while, and she's just going crazy the whole film. And yeah, he was doing a good job, and I actually wrote down in my notes like, oh, he's handling this situation like a badass. And then right when I wrote that down, he slaps her, and I'm like, except for the 31-minute mark. So that said, I really like the lead character in this movie. Wasn't a fan of Barbara. Barbara was just petrified throughout the whole movie, and that's basically just her character arc. She starts off like petrified and ends petrified. I wish Barbara had a moment towards the end of the movie to overcome her anxiety. That never really happened. So it kind of made Barbara like an annoying character. She reminded me a bit of Willie in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Just like a useless side character who's just like, oh my god, you gotta get rid of this girl.
Get some more lights on in this house.
Feed her to the flesh eaters. No, don't do that. Poor Barbara. I'm hard on Barbara. She's okay. Romero loves putting a lot of social commentary in his films. This film, a lot of people took away themes of racism, themes of civil rights. I honestly never got that theme watching this movie, and I just thought the lead character is black, and it's just a coincidence, basically. It could have been a character of any race. And the director, Romero, also stated that. He said, I just took the best man for the part, and the best man for the part happened to be a black man. I got more themes of Cold War paranoia going on. There's signs and hints. There's some like a news broadcast that says that it's due to radiation because of Cold War conflicts at the time, and there is a lot of that paranoia. You don't know who to trust, who's on your side, who isn't, and even not only the zombies versus the humans, but the humans versus the humans as well. Some humans are just assholes, and they're thinking basically about themselves. And that's a theme that's been reoccurring in zombie movies. Like, the moral of every zombie movie nowadays is that zombies aren't the real monsters, it's humans. But Romero was the first. You gotta give the guy credit. The end of the movie was pretty funny too. Everyone gets saved by rednecks, basically. But the rednecks accidentally shoot Cooper. Maybe that's how people got themes of racism and civil rights. It was really at the tail end of the movie. But I think Romero would know better, and he would set it up and have it continuously throughout the film rather than just throwing something at the end. That's not really Romero's type. So those are all the positives I have with the movie. It was a really fun movie. A little dated, sure. It never really bothered me. It might bother your average viewer. A few negatives I have. There's a scene where Barbara enters the house for the first time, and there's like a huge jump scare. And it turns out they just have like a deer head on the wall. It's like, every hunter's got one of those on the wall. What's the big deal? You don't have to make it a big jump scare. But that sets up the fact that there's a gun in the house very well. You see that, okay, this house belongs to a hunter. Goes in the closet, there's a gun. So it's a very smart movie. See, even my criticisms of the movie, they're compliments. But yeah, I just didn't like that jump scare. But that was like 1 second of the film. Dick, for no reason. They're going to visit their dad at the cemetery at the beginning of the movie. And he's just like, oh, do we have to? We went to church this morning. I'm like, dude, man the fuck up. Just fucking do it. It's whatever. I'm not going to judge on behalf of Johnny. He probably had a difficult relationship with his daddy. Had a little daddy issues. But overall, really enjoyable movie. Holds up today. I don't know why. The first time I watched this movie, I didn't really like it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I just thought it was okay. Second time I watched it, it really grew on me. I don't know. Maybe I was just in a bad mood that day. Sometimes that happens, depending on how your day is going. You can hate or love a movie. Today, I've been having a fabulous day. So maybe that's why I enjoyed the movie. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. This movie's been talked about to death at this point, but if you don't like the movie because it's dated, there's no worries in that. Film snobs tend to shame people who don't like older movies, who don't like black and white movies. I'm not like that. I don't give a shit. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like. It is what it is. There's some elements in older movies that I don't like, but Night of the Living Dead, great movie. Have no issues with it. Gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Stay tuned for more zombie movie things.
With the dead who cannot die. A night of total terror. Night of the living dead.